Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Koopalings!
There it is.
Welcome to another edition of Nintendo Shack episode 374 Tech Specs. This is not the second time we're doing this. Joining me, as always, is my boy, my brother, Donnie Reese. How you doing, bro?
Greetings, Koopalings. Yeah, thanks, chat, for letting us know that the YouTube didn't kick off. That's weird. It's totally there.
Yeah.
It says it's there, ready to start, and it just, I guess, electrons didn't happen. Whatever.
It was just showing us that we were live, and people were commenting and stuff, and they were like, no, you're not live.
Yeah, we fixed it.
We fixed it. We're good now. If you didn't hear it before, Rebecca's not here. She's Pokemon training. She's trying to catch a war turtle or some shit like that. I don't know.
But she's here.
Oh, she's here.
See? Garrett saw tech specs and woke up early, just like Rebecca saw tech specs and got the hell out of town.
Got the hell out of here. Like, absolutely,
absolutely
not.
not.
Not doing this.
Not. F that noise.
That is a PSVG topic. So, how's your week been, Donnie? What you playing?
Good. Yeah. I talked about it on PSVG. I'm playing Tetris Forever. My copy of Tetris Forever from Atari finally arrived, and I started playing it. And as I mentioned on PSVG, I am liking it quite a bit. I think I'm already like 10 hours into the game, and to be honest with you, I bought it just to have. This is one of those like put it on the shelf things. You remember they did something wrong, screwed something up, and they gave me like a coupon.
Yes.
They sent me the wrong thing. I don't remember. So I ended up getting this game for like half off.
Which is a great deal.
So it was a big reason why I bought it. I was like, I'll just add it to the shelf. Who doesn't love Tetris? And, you and the Player One guys, they got me started on like the Atari collection. I kind of made fun of it. But I did enjoy the documentary part of that game, even though I didn't like the games.
It's worth it just for that, honestly.
It really is. And I think this is better than that in that regard.
And that's great.
Like, I like the history lesson that I'm getting. I love this, almost educational, edutainment game. Like, this used to be a thing in the 90s. They thought, like, let's make video games to teach people. It's like nobody wanted that because that was lame. Correct. But if you make video games about historical video game knowledge, then I'm kind of all in. Like, I love watching a good, like, did you know gaming video from time to time.
Yeah.
And this is kind of that. It tells the story of Tetris, which I'm not going to tell you about it. One, I think that story's been told a lot. They made a movie out of it. So the story of Tetris was wide out there. But I'm digging it. I'm digging it for like the Nintendo lore. I love the little menu aspect of the game and combing around, seeing all these like nostalgic devices or promotions or things. Tetris has a great history. A lot of it that I did miss. I've known about Tetris for a long time, but my exposure to Tetris was on Game Boy, and then I played it on I think it's NES, and then like modern versions of Tetris, which I don't think have been like all that great, right? Like the Wii's Tetris and 360's Tetris, like they're fine. They get you through it. It's Tetris, but they're not like nothing quite hit like or at least for me, like Game Boy. Like to this day, I still just love playing Game Boy Tetris. It's like this is how this game should be, and one of the things I'm really appreciating in this game, because this game has like 15, 16 different versions of Tetris, and they're all old. They're all like really old, like pre-Nintendo versions of Tetris. Yes. So you've got Atari Tetris and Commodore Tetris and PC Tetris, and seeing all these different palettes and all these different swaps. There's like a battle. There's like a Tetris Gaiden game that I never saw. I think it was Japanese only release Tetris. Things like that are really cool. Like, it's just cool just to even be exposed to them, let alone play them. So I'm enjoying that because I don't have a lot of that. I wasn't around in the 70s like you were when you were kicking on these streets. So I never played any of this Tetris. When they're like, the Tetris game 1972, I'm like, 72? Yeah. Good Lord.
Yeah, I didn't realize Tetris was that old. Like, wow.
I may be off on the year, but
that might be 70s. Close. It's like 70,
it's
like 75,
70s.
76. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I'm enjoying this little history lesson that I'm on. And then the last thing I want to say about the game is there is a version of there's a new game mode, kind of like this is what Atari's doing. Like they're kind of taking these old IP, they're kind of repackaging, making them nostalgic things, but then they're also like being very playful and silly with like a new mode or a modern reimagining of these old games. So in this game, they have a mode of Tetris called Tetris Time Warp. You know, very Rocky Horror Picture Show. We're going to do the Time Warp again, where you're playing, and then every time you clear so many lines, you get a different looking Tetramino block. And if you put that block in your puzzle and then you clear a row with that block, it like time warps the game into a different palette. So it's almost like you're playing all of them at one time.
That's
and when it swaps, it doesn't just swap and you just keep playing Tetris. Like there's usually like some sort of like goal, like you get hit with like this little puzzle or something. It's like you got to clear these lines in like 15 seconds or something. If you don't, then it warps you back. I am finding that like endlessly addictive. Like I just start playing and I just keep playing because every time you clear it, like it just keeps increasing the level. And I just like it. I really like the whole palette swapping, different version. Like it just keeps refreshing it enough. You know, it's almost like watching TikTok or something. Like every so often, you're just getting something new. The first time I played it for like hours. I think I sat there and played it for 2 or 3 hours, just that one mode. Just Tetris Time Warp. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm digging it a lot more than I thought I was going to, for sure.
I'm super happy we both have different games to talk about on Shaq.
Nice. The other game I'm playing is Doom, but
that's the game I'm here to talk about.
Yeah, I won't go too far into that.
I will go a little bit into it.
Okay.
I can't because this game I think it's coming to Switch too.
Oh, for sure.
And I can't fucking wait because this game is fucking awesome.
Really? You think so?
I love it.
Nice.
It keeps going, and the whole game is kind of like momentum based, but the way it's done is super fun and chaotic. And I absolutely love this game. It's super fun. I think I feel like it's what I really needed right now. Something that's just story is just it's whatever. The story is everybody in this world who's human is fucking weak as shit.
That's hilarious you said, because I think exposition-wise, I think this game has a lot of it. It's like more than
it has a lot of
2016 and Eternal.
In-game storytelling.
Like a lot of cutscenes, a lot of dialogue. Yeah, there's a lot more story here than normal.
The plot is the demons from hell aren't scared of anybody except the fucking Doom guy. They're like...
And Doomslayer.
Doomslayer's the shit.
I mean, he's the weapon, yeah.
Yeah, they're like...
It's great. I will join you a little bit here. I want to save it. I want to play a little bit more, but also... I mean, one, the game isn't on Switch, so I wanted to save it for PSVG. But two, I don't know, how many chapters are you in?
I'm like chapter 3 now.
I'm like chapter 8 or 9, I think. And I think the game, honestly, the word that I posted on Blue Sky, and I think it's honestly it's spot on the right word for me. It's fascinating. I am fascinated by this game. There are parts of it that when I was playing and I was like, this ain't it.
Okay.
Like, this ain't it. This is not what I'm here for. And then the more I kept playing, it really started to like win me over. And I'm almost very intimidated by the direction they took with this game because
it's very different.
It is not Doom and it's not Doom Eternal. This is very different. So different, in fact, that if you're like a Doom fan and you're like, I don't like this, like I get it.
Yeah.
Like I 100% like, yeah, no, that makes
sense.
Agree. Checks out. In a lot of ways, it doesn't feel like a Doom game, but then in a lot of ways, it still does.
To me, it feels like they saw Captain America and was like, we could do that. Let's do that with just make it super violent, like the whole shield combat thing.
Wait till you get to, I think the chapter is called Siege. It's super endgame. Like the whole fucking game is just super endgame.
Like
actually, now that I say that, doesn't surprise me why you like this so
much.
It
feels like that. Now that you mentioned it, it kind of feels like endgame.
It's exactly what it feels like. There's like some Mordor stuff here too. a little Panzer Dragoon. Like it's just got vibes kind of all over the place. A little Warhammer. Like it does not feel like 2016 was like unabashedly Doom. Just fucking punch the demons in the face. Doom, you're Doom guy. You're doing Doom guy shit the whole time. This isn't that. It's like they were like, we can't do the same thing again. Right? And it's like they looked at it, and I guess this is the third one, probably the last one for a while, I imagine.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm liking it. I don't want anybody to hear this wrong. I'm liking it, but it's almost like I like it for different reasons. But that said, I'm actually surprised it reviewed as well as it did. Having played what I've played,
in the low 80s, right?
I think it was like 85. Like we were off the Rude Days by like just like a point.
Yeah.
And having played it, I kind of feel like the review cycle would have been harsher to this game had I known everything I know about it up front. And that it gives me a little bit more like hope in that whole thing. That's like, even for something being like different and somewhat zany, people can still give it a chance, because it's definitely won me over.
I think it plays to the fact that this is a more forgiving Doom game. Like if you didn't like Doom,
it's incredibly accessible.
Yeah, if you didn't like Doom, because Doom can be hard at times, stuff like that, and frustrating.
Doom Eternal was hard.
Yeah, this is the game for you. You can like
That's
customize this game to make it very easy, to make it customized to the way you play, to every aspect. Would say as soon as you get in the motion blur, I turn that shit immediately off.
It's also, for a Doom game, incredibly colorful.
Yes, it is.
Like you'll see a lot of green in this game, which is something I don't necessarily attribute to Doom games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm digging it. Like, I mean, that's why I've played, I feel like so much of it. Maybe it's not as much.
That's a good amount.
I didn't play yesterday. I probably won't play today. I played Friday. You're right. I'm off this week. My daughter's graduating. That's our last show last night. So I'll probably play tomorrow. I'll play a lot tomorrow. I'd like to finish this before Switch 2 comes out. And I think I'm on track. I think I'm well on my way. I don't know how long it is, but I heard it's longer. Like, it's a longer game.
I think it's 22 chapters, something like that.
Really?
I think that's what it is. I thought I read.
Wow. I was thinking like 12 or 15 maybe. So I got a long way to go.
Yeah, I think it's 22.
And the chapters are long. Some of these chapters are
really long.
Yeah, you do 20, 30 minutes before you get out of a chapter.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to find a lot of stuff, which of course I am. I'm not finding everything. I'm not 100%ing, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
Like, that's the goal.
Fun.
The goal is to find the secrets, and then if I don't, I just keep moving on. But the goal is to try.
Yeah. Would have played some more, but had to go get some ice from frozen yogurt for the kids and stuff like that, and go be a dad for a day. Like, all right, let's go do this stuff.
There's one particular point that I want to talk about like when it kind of won me over. Like, I want to get a little bit more into what happened.
Okay.
But I want to save it. I want to save it for PSVG. I'd like to talk about it with Dev, or 2 or 3. Like, let's give it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. All right, you want to get to these news stories?
Sure. Yeah, we can. Let's go ahead and get into it because we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Because like, we got Tech Specs. That's the title of the show. We're gonna talk about that. But like since since Nintendo Today came out, we are essentially have been getting like a Nintendo Switch 2 bit every day. It's like every day of the week we find out one new detail about the system, and then we just keep going. So it's like it just builds up. Like over the week, we just end up with a lot to talk about. Also, I mean, it's a new console launch, so we're always going to be finding out new stuff.
And we're close.
That's true. We are close.
We're really
20
close.
days?
Yeah.
Something like that? It's really close.
Yeah.
All right. So, the first thing has nothing to do with the Switch 2. The new Super Mario movie may have leaked its title because we got a press release from NBC Universal talking about their future films. And they were talking about Wicked and Five Nights at Freddy's and the new Shrek movie. And everybody's excited. And then they titled a movie that'll be coming out Super Mario World. Nobody knew that. That's not a title. Everybody's like, what? Is that the title? And then within like 20 minutes, that entire press brief was pulled down. So the ninjas got NBC.
Yeah.
They're like, hey. So it looks like, we're going to go from the Mario Bros. Movie to Super Mario World which I mean makes sense with like the Yoshi tidbit and whatnot.
Yeah,
Are you
people
excited?
like Yoshi. Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I like the first one. I think I like the first movie more than I like a lot of people did. I like the first movie a lot. Thought it was super fun. Thought it was super entertaining. So I'm not mad at it.
I did think it was good when I did finally watch it. I didn't watch it.
Other ones I think are really good. Then there's stuff like Until Dawn. Like you can keep that shit.
I still haven't watched the Sonic movies. I
They're
gotta
great.
watch them.
I think
Yeah,
they're really
Sean says they're amazing. I gotta try one. This is why I didn't see Mario in theaters. You'd think I would. You know, I love Nintendo and everything. I'm just, these sort of movies just don't do. Like, I don't have much of a desire to want to watch them.
good. I don't want to oversell the Sonic movies. I wouldn't say amazing, but for what they are and what they get out of the lore of it and stuff like that, for Sonic fans, I think it's super good. It's really
It's
good.
got to
It's
be
really
great.
fun.
If they made like 5 of them or something.
Yeah,
like
they're
keep
super
making
popular.
them. So yeah, I
Yeah,
gotta try
they're
them.
fun. They're super fun.
I think they're on Netflix or something. It's just when I sit down to watch something with my wife, that's so far away from anything I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
I just don't watch movies like this. I also don't do. I also like there's like this like adult kid animation thing. Like the Toy Story generation, and they love.
Yes.
I didn't watch Frozen. I don't like. I'm just out of that loop. I don't watch those things.
Yeah.
So
I don't watch much of that stuff. Well, at least like the Toy Story type stuff anymore.
it's like
Really?
Illumination and
Yeah.
what is it? The Minions and
Like
the stuff.
these like the Sonic and the Mario movies are the ones of those type of things I watch.
Mm.
In terms of movies, like if there's an animated movie or something like what is the Spider-Man movies that came out recently, the
There's recent Spider-Man movies.
the Into the Spider-Verse and the
Oh, okay,
other
yeah,
one.
yeah. I got you.
And the what's the other movie? I think it's called the Bad Robot or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you go line up outside of these, like what I would call, and I don't mean it derogatory, but like kids movies.
Yeah, they're kids movies.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with
Just don't
that.
have enough time, man. I don't have enough time to watch 100 horror movies and 100 animation movies, and you got to draw the line somewhere. 1,000 superhero movies. I can't do it all.
Yeah.
So
I found myself gravitating more to horror movies as of late. In terms of like, if I have nothing to watch, I'll throw in a horror.
I've watched 3 or 4 in the last week.
I've
Like, I'm starting to heat up. I'm starting. It's starting to get going. I'm starting to heat up here a little bit.
I think I've watched about the same, about 3 or 4.
It's also helping that like all of the movies that I wanted to see but I didn't see in theater are starting to hit streaming. Like they're starting to come out.
Yes.
So that's helping. But I just picked up Shudder. I got buy one get 3 for Shudder
That's a good.
because
That's a good plan.
Shudder has a bunch of originals that are either out now or coming out in like the next 6 weeks.
My friend had me on his podcast a couple weeks ago, and his podcast. You ever saw like Mystery Science Theater?
That's right, Minecraft. I didn't see the Minecraft.
Yeah, I didn't see that
either.
either. It looks terrible.
Yeah, but the kids love it though.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
Jack said it looks terrible, but then all I see on TikTok is people screaming and hollering about damn things.
Screaming, hollering, throwing
So
popcorn
they love
everywhere.
it.
Ah, the fuck.
I have seen
Yeah,
Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, but his podcast is that with horror movies, with bad horror movies. So I went on with him and watched that Screamboat Mickey movie.
Mm-hmm.
What a
How'd you
piece
like
of
that?
shit. It's
Dude, I
awful.
told you. Why do you
It's
do these
awful.
things to yourself?
It's so, but he invited me on to watch that. Cause you're like, don't you watch these movies? I was like, sometimes.
You
You're
were
like, yeah.
yeah, this is your thing.
He's like, yeah, let's watch this one. The girl like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, this shit sucks.
Full Terrifier. What's Mario's version going to be?
It's gonna be Yoshi's mouth.
Yoshi. What that mouth to, Yoshi? All right. Chris Dring, who used to be at gamesindustry.biz, if you don't
Yes.
remember, he got laid off. He started his own outlet blog. It's called The Game Business. He made a post that says, press warned no Switch 2 consoles until launch. Some media, interesting choice of words, have been warned that they will not receive any Switch 2s until launch day. Nintendo has told journalists this is due to the requirement of a significant day one patch coming to the console. Nintendo is holding some press preview events for Mario Kart World, which will give journalists and critics an extended play of the game. But the reality is there will be very few, if any, reviews for Switch 2 or its games until after the machine has come out. This was a quote in the article. One PR boss told them, quote, Nintendo has something special for the launch of the Switch 2. For those that want something else in addition to Mario Kart.
Okay. That sounds interesting. Before I say something, before I forget, XBS, send me that information so I can have them on my podcast. That sounds kind of
Okay.
cool.
There you go. Yeah.
Also, I wonder what the something special is.
So I am almost like averse. Like I don't even want to entertain that because I don't want to get my hopes up and be let down. You know, like what do they mean? It's like,
I was
no,
guessing a special intro.
it's on everything we've seen. Like I just don't want to get. I don't want to get too hopeful based on one unnamed anonymous PR source.
I agree.
You know, it's like that could just be hearsay.
But I am excited about the Switch 2. I'm super excited about it. I'm even more excited. Like, hey, you guys can't get it launch day, so we're not going to hear nothing really about it
So
in terms of like.
that makes you feel more excited.
Yes, it does.
Because I was definitely hoping before this news article hit, I was expecting that like next week we would get like review coverage and like all of the, you know, sites and blogs and channels would have reviews and we'd be able to know more about the system and they'd go in through the UI. And I was expecting that to do that whole ritual that we do.
Yeah,
And
the
based
normal
on this
thing.
article, it sounds like it's not coming out now. I pointed this out. Chris says some media.
Yeah, we might get something.
I expect that some other media will get pre-release consoles. I think they're just not giving them to a lot of people or most people.
Well,
But I would expect the big channels of the world to probably get them, especially, let's say Nintendo is trying to hold on to something, which I don't know if we should think that, but let's just accept that as a reality. Nintendo could probably go to select channels and give them reviews under the guise that they, like a certain embargo.
Yes.
You're not allowed to talk about this with the system. You're not allowed to talk about that.
well, let me ask you this. Remember, I want to say that might have been a couple months ago when we talked about the person trying to sell the Switch 2 that they had.
Yep.
Do you think this will play in the hand? Like somebody, I got a Switch 2. I can
They
talk
can break
about it.
Street Date. I mean, Street Date will be broken. There's no way what if they don't have, what if the standard version of the OS doesn't have it? You know, like
just
you're
be a
going to
brick
get
console.
it and you're going to be like, it's the same thing. And then day one, they patch in something. It's like, it's completely different. You know, like, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
So
it's going to be really interesting to see how this works out.
much
super
remains
excited
to
for
be seen. It is interesting. We are so close and yet there's still a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, I agree. I am excited for it because so far it seems like everything is going well. Like none of the pre-orders we got has been canceled or nothing like that. So it seems like for the most part everything's going to go through. So we're just waiting for the release of it. And everything we hear about the system seems glowing. Seems great.
Yeah.
Seems too good to be true. So I'm like, all right. Usually when this stuff happens, you kind of wait for that other shoe to drop. And it hasn't dropped yet. I guess the price would be that other shoe.
Yeah, as I say, there's been a lot of drops. Price,
But-
GameStop cards, $80.
But we've kind of like moved past all that.
A lot of shoes have dropped.
Yeah. But it's like the shoe didn't matter. Like the shoe dropped, we picked it right back up.
No,
Like,
the shoe didn't matter.
yeah.
Ubisoft says paid DLC OS options. I was thinking like Nintendo Switch Online OS options. Like I could see like themes for like NSO members or
Yeah.
folders or something like that.
I would like some dope themes.
I don't know about dope themes. I'm just thinking just themes. Like
Well, both.
I'm not getting. Don't get too excited. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to remains to be seen. We got a couple weeks before we find out. We'll find out then. Digital Foundry did a whole video. I guess working with developers, they have pegged the Nintendo Switch specs. So we have real bona fide tech specs for the Switch 2. So here's what we know. We know it's an 8-core CPU, and we now know that 6 of the 8 CPU cores are dedicated to games. 2 of them are reserved for the OS. The Switch 1, that's twice what we had on Switch 1 operating system. So Nintendo is reserving 2 cores and 3 gigabytes of RAM just for OS functionality. That is a lot more than the Switch 1. A lot more.
Yeah, but this is a lot more powerful than the Switch 1.
Yeah, but the OS, what they've shown us, besides game chat, what we've seen so far looks the same. The
That's
OS
true.
looks the same. The features look the same. The eShop looks the same. Now, more hardware under the hood should make the eShop run a lot better.
Correct.
So there's that. But it's just, I was not shocked, but surprised. That's a lot of resources to hold.
Well, I think that's probably because there's still stuff we probably don't even know about. That probably takes up resources that they haven't mentioned yet. That's what I would assume.
I would be hopeful for that because my thought is that it's game chat. And I don't necessarily know if it is, if that's the case. I don't know if that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm just sort of thinking because there's been a lot of people like on Reddit. If you start diving into channels that are talking about the Switch 2's tech specs and what it could mean for the future, and a lot of this happened in recent weeks about GTA 6. There's a ton of people that think GTA 6 is going to make it to Switch 2 because the Switch 2 has more RAM than a Series S does. That was like their big thing. They're like, it's got more RAM than Series S. But after they hold back for the operating system and stuff, like it really doesn't. You know, like it did if it was just free for all games. But the fact that they're holding back so much, like, really does put constraints on the games. So part of me was wondering, like, if this is for game chat, if it is, like, if you're not using game chat, like, are those resources still being reserved, or like, can you use them? I now wonder, can developers opt out of it?
Okay. That would be good. Let me ask you this, because now that you bring it up in GTA 6, I'm kind of thinking about it. This Switch 2, right? It's powerful. It's, for what we see, what we gather from it, it's very powerful and stuff like that. With the PS5 Pro and the potential Xbox, what do you think the longevity of people supporting this system goes in terms of, like, okay, right now we're going to get all the, like, you know, Doom the Dark Age is probably going to come. But as the years go by, you think they're still going to be able to bring these similar type games to Switch 2?
No.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to be so blunt, but like I don't want people to.
Because I feel like that was the problem with the Switch 1. It was like, all right,
I don't
at a
think
certain
that
point in
problem,
time.
I don't think that problem's going to go away.
Okay.
I think this device is more in the wheelhouse of ports being made. So I think Switch 2 is going to have more third-party games. So
Okay.
I just don't want you to get. I don't want anybody to of it. Like, I don't think GTA 6 is going to run on a Switch without.
It'll be 2K26, 27, 28.
Yeah,
like,
especially if Xbox is, if they're not there as like a pillar of content.
Because my big thing is this: there are certain games that I'd probably prefer on a Switch as opposed to a PS5, like WWE, of course, Mortal Kombat, because, you know, I take it with me, but I want it to be at least playable, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think this is more in the wheelhouse, especially if you consider 1080p playable, which I think is fine.
That's fine.
So yeah, I think this is more in the wheelhouse. I think you'll see more games, but like the big tent pole, like pushing the medium forward type games. Yeah, I wouldn't rest your hat that you'll see.
That's what I have my PS5 for.
Yeah.
That's how I look at that.
Yeah, it's not going to do that. Now the option is the cloud. You know, it's somewhat forgotten about. They really haven't talked about it with it now. With the Switch 2 yet, but we had cloud gaming on Switch 1. They could continue that on Switch 2. If that does happen, then I do think you could see GTA arrive on Switch 2 via the cloud or something like that. It's possible.
Okay.
But yeah, like the system is powerful by Switch standards.
Okay.
When you compare it to the Switch, the system is a powerful leap. When you compare it to like the Ally X, it's not. You know, it's got some stuff that's going for it. Like, it's got its own thing, but this is not like the end-all be-all of tech specs. But I'm gonna put a pin in that for just a minute. Let's get through more of these.
Okay.
All right. So they're reserving a lot of. Oh, hang on. Before I did, I want to talk about that. They're reserving a lot of resources, and like, game chat is a system feature, just like on Switch 1, like screenshots and recordings were a system feature. But, you know, some developers were able to disable that. So, like, I'm wondering, could a developer disable game chat for their game and then use extra resources for the game? Is that possible? I don't think so. I think a lot of people think that game chat is going to be something that like goes away after nobody uses it for a year. but like Nintendo has made that a paid premium feature. They've put a whole button for it dedicated, like on the like I don't think it's going away.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
think it's
so
here to
like,
stay. I think it's something they want to push.
yeah. Okay, so Switch 2 CPU runs at a higher clock in mobile than docked. That was something Digital Foundry spoke to. It's pretty interesting. People are wondering if that's making up for like bandwidth, perhaps. Speaking of memory bandwidth, 102 gigabytes per second docked, 68 gigabytes per second in portable mode. That is 3 or 4 times the Switch 1. Like, that is a significant boost in memory bandwidth, and that will greatly enhance Switch 2 games. Streaming, pop in, load times, like, that's huge. This is by far and away Switch 1's biggest bottleneck was slow bandwidth. This is still, again, and this is still like slow by other console standards. Like, this is not as fast as the Series S or the X or the PlayStation 5. Like, this is slower than those. Again, it's in the ballpark. It's like getting close to where those are. It's near it. It's got a custom on-chip decompression block that can help offset CPU resources, which is very, very nice. It's got 1,536 CUDA cores, GPU clock almost 2 times from handheld to dock. That's why we're seeing the dock performance and something like Cyberpunk and Street Fighter looks so good. It's almost like 2 different consoles, like the portable console and then the attached to the TV console. Like that GPU boost is huge. Both systems, the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, feature a 10-point multi-touch screen. Digital Foundry said that VRR was not available for docked play. They speculated that it's because the USB-C to HDMI adapter switch doesn't support VRR over HDMI. And it's not that it doesn't support it. I think it does. It's just that I think you'd have to restrict the HDMI bandwidth to make it happen. So they speculated that this could possibly come via an update. However, yesterday, confirmed by Nintendo through Nintendo Life, Nintendo said the Nintendo Switch 2 does not support VRR in docked play, handheld mode only. They said the incorrect information was initially published to the website, and we apologize for the error. So it sounds like you will not have VRR when docked at all.
Interesting.
I don't think a lot of people care because a lot of people probably don't have a VRR compatible TV anyway.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
I care, not so much because I do have one, and I definitely was looking forward to taking advantage of it. But I almost care from a system feature. I think it's weird that you have features in portable play that you don't have in docked. It's like a very non-Nintendo sort of thing to do. Again, I kind of wished it was there the whole time. I wouldn't hold out hope for a dock update, maybe. I mean, we got that Bluetooth update like 5 years into Switch 1. So I guess like it's possible. But I would think maybe more like a revision. Maybe an updated model at some point down the line has an updated dock or something that can do VRR. Let's see here. Digital Foundry said all the leaks basically proved to be true. And that's dating back to the leaks back to like 2021. We're talking like Switch Pro stuff. They were talking about the chip and everything. That's basically what we got. He did say that devs have a game chat testing tool in the software development kit to see how game chat would impact your games. Nintendo has made a game chat testing tool for you to run. So you don't have to run the game and like get on a call with everybody to figure it out. They have a test environment, a demo environment.
And it lets you know, okay, this works for us, this doesn't work. I think that's good. Smart.
Again, but like it sounds like it has to be supported, and that could restrict games. I'd be very it's already setting up to where we could see that like a third party, like a Baldur's Gate situation with Series S. When they're like, well, we want to make it, but we can't. Do you remember that? When they're like,
I do remember that. People.
I'm wondering if like a year from now we have a developer that's like, we would love to port our game to Switch 2, but we can't because of game chat. Like, I'm wondering if Nintendo is setting themselves up to face that in any way. DLSS confirmed to be built into the SDK. It has a 1-time, 2-time, and 3 times options for anybody that's ever used DLSS. That's basically your performance, your balance, and your quality modes. There's also a DLA option where you can use DLSS just for anti-aliasing. And Digital Foundry did talk on ray tracing. So it's got Ampere ray tracing features. Switch 2 is rated for 10 gigaраys per second. You excited, Delvin?
10 gigaраys, baby.
Gigaраys.
Let's
Gigaраys.
go.
That's doubling up to 20 gigaраys when docked. Of course, ray tracing is taxing on a resource-constrained system, so it's no surprise that we don't really have any ray tracing effects in games yet.
Let me ask you, do you often use ray tracing
No.
in your games? I did it first. While he's yawning.
No. When the gen started, when I got my Series X, when I got my PC, I turned it on. I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. It is pretty. It's very shiny. It is not worth it in any way, shape, or form to lose performance, like literally at all.
I started playing games like that, and then, well, thanks to you guys, you're like, why are you doing that? You should just play performance mode.
Yeah.
And the performance mode is kind of the best of both worlds. I'm like, this still looks, in a lot of cases, it looks better. So
The problem is, it's not really the problem. D-Life, the hell is a gigaray?
Some made up shit. That's what it is.
The issue that I have with it, and I understand that, like, I think if we had like Digital Foundry here or developers, they would push back on what I'm about to say.
Probably.
So there's probably a difference between I think that's a difference between like an auteur, like an audio file, like in how they think about their headphones and how like the regular Joe thinks about this. But regular Joe Donnie thinks that like standard lighting, pre-baked lighting in games looks pretty good.
It does.
Like, I agree that ray tracing looks better. I wouldn't sacrifice 1 FPS for that change.
I'm starting to lean with you guys on that.
Because the pre-baked lighting looks pretty good. Like, it looks pretty good.
Also, I don't know if y'all know this, I'm getting old. So when we have the HDR and all that stuff on, and it gets like really dark, I'm like, I can't see shit.
Yeah.
I'm becoming like, yo, turn that up. Like, I can't see shit.
The only game that I think it really has made a real, like, if you can max out Cyberpunk and ray tracing, it makes a huge difference.
It does look really good in
Cyberpunk is pretty stellar with ray tracing. And like path tracing is like the next generation, and that's even heavier. And path tracing makes a world of difference. Like, that's kind of a big move.
Yeah, that
but
one I
like,
don't know about.
When these consoles launched, the example that I always pointed to was the Mafia remasters. I'm not exactly sure which one. I think it's Mafia 2 remastered. The lighting in that game is incredible. And the puddles and the rain and everything is super shiny, and there's no ray tracing. I was like, who needs ray tracing? Like, why would I sacrifice 30% performance for this to be ray tracing when this game looks as good as it looks now?
Yeah.
You know. And but there are those that are like, they just want to push every boundary, and it does look better. It makes it look more realistic. I'm just not at a point where I would give up. I would not give up performance to achieve it, nor am I going to go buy thousands of dollars worth of hardware upgrades just to have it. Like, it's just not that important to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm to the point where I think people will laugh at this. I kind of wish that Switch 2 had like a performance mode as a console to where, like, when you were docked, you had the option to just play at 1080p instead and maybe gain performance boost over 4K. Because it's like, I'm fine with this. like I can totally do 1080 if I could get a boost out of it.
I've been saying for years, we're kind of to that place where games look good enough. We don't like it.
They do look good enough. I'll agree with you there. I think they look good enough. It's just I've more and more of the years I prioritize performance.
Yeah.
So if you can give me options to boost performance, I'll probably almost always choose that instead.
Yeah, it looks good enough. Give me better performance, and I'm happy with this.
Yeah, like even in handheld, like if we could dip to if we could set the handheld's resolution to like 900 or 720p and get a performance boost, I would do that. Like, I would be interested in doing that.
Makes sense to me.
But I don't think they're going to let us do that.
Not even
so those are the tech specs we found out. It's basically a lot of what was been rumored but now confirmed. My big takeaway are the resources they're holding for the OS. My second takeaway, which was to the point I think you were wanting to talk about earlier. I think the second take when you see this is on paper. If you were to like make a table, a chart, and you were to put the Switch 2 specs next to other console specs, you might be a little less enthused. You know, like the RAM isn't as much, the cores aren't as much. You're like, oh, is this that great?
Yeah.
And then I would remind you to look at the games. And I would use Switch 1 as an example, of course. Well, one, first and foremost, as much as people, it's going to happen because this is just how video games are and it's how any tech is. You're always going to compare system specs side by side, right? If you did that on Switch 1, you would have thought the Switch 1 was like the worst console ever. And it totally ran Breath of the Wild and Doom Eternal and Tears of the Kingdom, right? So the Switch has already proved like it punches above its spec sheet. And Switch 2 has already proven. If you look at Switch 2 specs, you would not think it capable of running Cyberpunk. Yet we see Cyberpunk running. Like we've seen it. And not only do we see it, it looks great. It looks really good. That's because DLSS is doing a lot. Like it's making up for a lot. It's closing that gap. Optimization. Games are being built for the Switch 2 versus just a PC port on like a Steam Deck or something like that. Like it's actually being built. You know, I think Doom the Dark Ages, to my understanding, doesn't run particularly great on like Steam Deck. It's pretty hard, even if you basically like just set everything to 0. It's still like struggles to hold 30, at least in the videos that I've seen. Maybe somebody in the chat could let me know if I'm wrong there. And the difference between that and what Switch 2 could do is Bethesda or a port studio like Panic Button, they could actually take Doom the Dark Ages and actually tweak the game. Like how many enemies on screen until we run into problems. Let's cut that down a little bit. Let's cut this down a little bit. Let's cut those clouds down a little bit. Like they can actually go into the game and build it. That's what that's what we call optimization to get the Switch version running as good as it can. That's why Switch 1 had Doom and Doom Eternal. So I think in to the question you asked earlier, if developers are still going to do that, if the Switch 2 is a lucrative market for them, for them to like port games specifically for it, I think the Switch 2 will be fine for many years to come.
That's great to hear.
For most games. It'll take work, right? It'll be cost. It's not a copy paste. But if they're willing to do the work, then I think it'll be worth it. So I'm expecting lots of third-party games, like tons. Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, basically everything Capcom has made, Tekken. Like I'm expecting all that shit to come over, like all of it. There's just a decade of games missing in the Switch 2 library, and these companies, I think these companies are looking at it as like cheap money.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can port games we've already made and sell them at full price.
Yeah. Resident Evil
Final
7.
Fantasy 7. Like, yeah.
Bring them right back over there.
Yep.
Full price.
One after the other. And
people will buy it because they know, like, hey, I want to play it here.
Correct. Yeah. So I think we're going to get a lot of that sort of stuff. And I think Switch is going to be fine for many years. But I do think we will get to a point where, I wouldn't say it's hard, but where companies will have to go out of their way to make sure they're running. Especially the heavy stuff, like the big heavy games. But here's the funny thing. We're not getting a whole lot of those.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like GTA. There's like a couple, but there's not a whole lot of those out there that seem like something the Switch couldn't run.
You know what I would bring the Switch to immediately? The new Tomb Raider games, the modern ones.
Oh, yeah. I think patches of those that'd be easy
bring
money for
those
Amazon.
To Switch 2.
Don't they own it?
Is
it Amazon on Tomb Raider?
That is correct.
They bought Crystal? Yeah, that'd be easy money for them.
Yeah, just bring those to Switch 2. I think they would do great on Switch 2.
The Tomb Raider trilogy, that would be good.
Yeah.
The game that everybody in the
game.
chat's talking about, I think Claire Obscure will come to Switch 2 soon.
That's a good one, too.
Yep. I think Metaphor will jump to Switch 2.
Awesome.
I can see a lot of that sort of stuff. But those are games, like even Claire Obscure, I mean, it's a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't look impossible for
yeah, it looks
Switch.
feasible.
Yeah, it looks feasible. And Metaphor, all that stuff. There's a lot more of those games being made right now, it seems. I even think Death Stranding. I think Death Stranding will come to Switch too.
Yeah, Rodrigo just said it. Tomb Raider trilogy, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War. I would buy them. Yeah, I think a lot of people would buy
Shadows
those.
things. I don't think they're porting those anymore.
Well, WB's like,
Monolith's gone. like,
yeah.
I don't think that's
gonna
happen. I would love it. I would buy them. I don't.
I would too.
Ubisofts blueprints. Yeah, I think all of those are going to come. They're all going to come.
I do too.
It's just the big boundary pushing, you know. And right now, it's like, honestly, it's the only thing I can think of is really GTA that gives me pause.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be fine. I'm not too worried about games not coming. Honestly, I think it's just more of a, do devs want to put in the investment to make it work? And if the Switch 2 sells 20 million in year one, then yeah, they will, because there'll be enough people there that want to buy games. So that's where Nintendo's job gets in. They got to sell enough consoles to make it worthwhile for these third parties to support it.
Yeah.
And I think they're off to the races.
Based off of what we've seen, I think they're going to be
in good shape. They're in good shape. They'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. All right. So while speaking of specs, there was a report coming out of Korea that Samsung spoke on the Switch 2. I read the report. I had to translate it, so there's something might be lost in translation here. But reportedly, Nintendo went with Samsung's 8-nanometer process instead of their 5-nanometer chip due to cost, of course, and then yields, being able to make enough of them to launch. But they also speculate that a 5-nanometer chip could come in a future variant, which makes all the sense in the world. I think it's a big reason why the Switch is as big as it is. The die is a huge die. It's a bigger board. Just in general. So I think the easiest way to get around that is to make it bigger. The Joy-Con's bigger, the screen bigger. But if they want to boost battery life, there's huge gains by going to a 5-nanometer chip at some point. Like, this would be the equivalent of like the Redbox Switch, where a couple years down the line we get a, it's kind of the same thing we got on the PlayStation 5. I'm not sure if you remember. There was the PlayStation 5, and then like 18 months later, it was the same PlayStation 5, but like
a little stronger.
It was more efficient.
Yes.
Like they basically they got rid of a lot of the heat sink. They got rid of a lot of the materials. They sold it for the same price and everything. It just was better.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think we could see something like that with Switch 2 down the line. I think we could see a Redbox model or a Vision maybe 2 years from now where the battery life is doubled. And if you're wondering like how did they do that, pretty sure they just jumped to the new chip die and just, maybe a slightly bigger battery.
Okay.
So, Furukawa thought the console's high price would pose a challenge to early adoption, saying the company found that the hype for the upcoming handheld has outpaced its expectations, thus explaining its conservative fiscal year target. Remember, they said they were going to sell 15 million of these, and I was like, that seems light. Maybe they can't make enough. Well, it seems like the reason that they were conservative on the number is they thought the price would keep people away.
Well,
and it hasn't.
Thank goodness for tariffs, because they were like, hey, it could be worse. Like, all right, let's get my Switch now.
I thought of that with your son. He posted his video yesterday in the Discord.
Yes.
Right. And there's a lot of those takes. There's 1,000 of those YouTube videos. You open up YouTube right now and you go to gaming. It's like, gaming's too expensive. They're pricing people out of it. It's like, are they?
Yeah. Apparently
they're selling 20 million of these day one.
Yes.
So it's like, not enough of them.
Yeah, great video. Stole my goddamn game.
Captain Awesome in the chat says, do you think with this tech we might get Spider-Man or Horizon on Switch? What do you think, Mr. PlayStation?
That's a good question. If PlayStation wants to play ball, but I don't think they want to play ball, I think they're like, nah.
This is the reason why I turned on Xbox so hard. If you're going to put it on PC, why not?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, what's the answer? Why not? The answer is to, well, if you want a console, you make sure you buy ours.
Yes. And now it feels like, now that Xbox is pretty much gone, Nintendo's kind of our competition. So why would we give them that?
Are they competition?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. But
yeah, I don't think so. I think even in the console market, PlayStation needs to keep something to differentiate themselves. If you start putting Horizon and Last of Us on Switch 2 and stuff, you really open up the same box that Xbox finds themselves in. You might make more money, but I think you'll turn off people. So I wouldn't expect
Correct.
That. I don't think that's
you gotta keep some of your exclusives to yourself.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's different with.
I can see a world where Spider-Man goes there, but that's about it. Maybe the
Really?
first one. It's like we already made our money on this one. You can get it now.
I mean, they're playing around with it. Also, there's rumors out there that they want to that they're going to launch their own handheld.
Well,
So if you're going to launch
there's
your own
that part.
handheld, you can't be putting that shit on Switch.
Then it definitely ain't going there. If that comes out, yeah, it's not going
Now, if I were PlayStation, and we've talked about this, if I were PlayStation, I would make Switch my handheld.
there. That would make more sense.
Like, instead of me making my own handheld, I'd be like, listen, we have a console and a handheld. Like, you can play our games on either one of these things. And I'd make you buy them. You're going to buy the games. They're going to be $70. Like, you know, but we'll see. I'm not expecting anything like that. This D-Life nonsense. Who's PlayStation chasing monthly active? Okay. Sure.
No, it's not going to be on Switch.
It's just finance talk.
It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it's just finance talk. Because of course they're going to say that. They're going to say all the things that the shareholders want to hear about making more money. Are they going to do those things? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. So we have more tidbits on Switch 2. These are these little details that keep coming out. Here's what we've learned since last week. Hogwarts Legacy on Switch 2 has a $10 upgrade fee. So you can buy the new game, I think it's like $60 or $70. Or if you have the original game on Switch 1, you can just pay $10 to upgrade it. Which is interesting because when this news came down, I don't know if it still is, Hogwarts Legacy was on sale on Switch 1 for like $10, $15. So theoretically, you could have bought it then for $10 or $15 and then paid $10 to upgrade, and you have the whole game for $20.
Great deal.
Yeah. You can lock your Switch 2 with a PIN code now. That was one of the settings that came out. You can actually attach a PIN to it. So if it gets lost or something, somebody can't play it.
That's good.
It is good.
It's really good.
There's a battery saver mode in the settings that if
Like
you
that.
enable will not let the battery charge more than 90%.
So you can save your battery life.
Yeah. You ever use those like on your cell phones and stuff?
Now I'm starting to use those because I
I've
realize
never
it
used
kills.
them. I'm not going to use this one either.
Probably not. I won't use it
I'm
on
not even
Switch.
gonna lie to you. There's people like, oh, this is great. And it's like, the way that I look at it is like, I'm not keeping that Switch 2. Like, I'll get the revision and I'll get the OLED. Like, I'll keep,
Exactly.
by the time that battery wears out, I'll be long gone. Like,
Yeah.
so I won't be using that. Also, like, the batteries do wear out. I replaced both of my Switch 1 batteries. I
Oh,
think
you
that's
have?
another.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why I wouldn't use that setting is, let's say I had the one Switch and use it for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, I would just put a new battery in it. Batteries are cheap. You buy a Switch battery for like $10. Have a
think I
brand new
haven't
battery.
changed one yet.
There's even
Yeah,
better
so-
batteries. You can put a better battery in your regular Switch 1 and have better battery life than it originally had.
That is not a bad idea.
It's not hard to do by any means. You got to take off the back plate. You got to take off the back shield. But like they glue the battery in there. Like it's really stuck in there. You got to get like a smudger and you got to pry that thing out. I'm talking, it takes like strength. Like you got to really pry on that damn thing to get it out of there. But it's a pretty easy job. Limited runs, Switch 2's numbered releases. So their official limited run numbered releases will have the full game on the cartridge. There'll be no game key cards from limited run numbered editions. Now, if a company just wants to work with limited run to sell a game, it's not
That's
a limited
different.
run edition. It may have a game key card. But for their actual editions, they're going to do full games on cartridge, which I think you have to. Like your limited run, your whole tagline is forever physical. It'd be really weird for you to start peddling game key cards.
Here's our game key card. Like forever physical.
I'm fighting the yawns. Nintendo said on the topic of game key cards, we currently have no plans to use game key cards for Nintendo developed titles.
Good.
So for now, feel confident buying Nintendo first party products will be fully on cartridge.
That's for key cards are for those other guys, not for us.
I do wonder if I'm like at the end of the Switch 2 life, do you think Nintendo will release a game key card? Because I do.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I do too. Yeah, like there are people celebrating. They're like, "See, they're." I'm like, don't. I wouldn't go too far down that road if I were you.
For your Super Princess Peaches and
I was thinking like budget
Yeah.
releases. They're $40, $30. Yeah, that's exactly what I was like. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
probably gonna game key card that shit. They're not gonna be like, they're gonna eat that. They're not gonna eat that loss.
you're like, nah.
Or maybe they don't have $40 releases. Maybe they're all $60,
Ooh.
$70. Yeah, that's the other thing. Just like Mario Kart, they just we'll sell you the cartridge. You're gonna have to buy the cartridge, not us. Like
You're gonna pay for this cartridge.
that's coming out of your money, not ours. Which is fine. I wanted Rebecca to be here for this one. So we got an update on Game Share. So Nintendo Switch 2 system must initiate Game Share session. Users who receive software via Game Share can only play the software during the game chat session in which it was shared. So this came off the fine print of the page where all of the free update games got detailed this week. And we're going to read those next. But I found this to be interesting, and I'm not sure if you remember this. Let me see if I can jog your memory. After the Direct came out, during the Switch 2 Direct, they talked about what that button means. The game chat button is a C button, you press it. And they talked about game chat. And then immediately in that video, like immediately, without a transition or anything, they started talking about game sharing too. And I came to the show and I was very confused. I was like, so do you use the C button to do both? Because it looked like you used the game chat button to do game chat and some version of game sharing.
Correct.
It does
I remember
appear, especially if you're doing game share like not local, it appears that I guess they're somewhat tied together. You can game share with people via an invite in game chat, I guess, is what it looks like it's going to do.
Yes. And
That's
once
how
the
I read
session
that. Is that
ends-
how you read that too?
Yes, and then once
Yeah.
the session ends, you no longer have the game.
That's it. Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I think I was right on that. It looks like they are somewhat tied. So that game chat feature also ties in with game share. So you've got the game share icon on the UI. I guess that's for the original person to do that. And then you invite other people to play with you via the chat room. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to have to do it. Like I'm going to have to play with it to see how like this works, but it's somewhat confusing.
Yardy, you want me to read Rebecca's quote on the topic? It's stupid.
I was going to make fun of it originally because I thought it was strange that they have a C button. It's clearly a C button
It is.
that they called game chat, starts with a G, and game share doesn't even have a C in it. I
No.
was like, what the like, it doesn't even have a C in it.
I thought the C was for Crip.
Oh, you're yawning again. Man, I need to like pop my ears or something. Hang on a second.
Probably.
Phil.
So yeah, Donnie's popping his ears, popping it like it's hot. He's yawning in the stream, which I also appreciate. He's tired. I appreciate this because usually when we record PSVG, I am the one who's tired as fuck. This time it's Donnie.
I'm not tired. I feel
I'm
great,
wide awake.
actually.
I'm wide awoke.
I got a brand new bed.
Oh, what kind of
I
bed
bought
did you get?
I bought it just nothing amazing. My in-laws, they spent like $6,000 on their bed, and that's crazy. I
Fuck
would
that.
never.
Fuck that. The
I
King
got
of
a
England?
new box spring and a mattress that I went and tested out last week. Memorial Day sales and all that. Our bed is really old. Also, my wife loves a really plushy bed,
Okay.
like a real soft bed. And you remember I've been telling you about like my back issues and stuff. My doctor was like, "You got to get off that bed immediately."
So you didn't do
You
the
need
thing where you order the bed online like they do now?
No.
Bed
No,
in the box?
No, I went to a store because I needed to.
Boy, I haven't
try
been
it.
to a store in a while. like a
Well, that's
furniture
so.
store?
Our last bed was that way. We ordered offline and stuff, and it's just way too soft. And the doctor was like, "It's probably a really big reason why you're having back issues." They're like, "You need to get on a firm mattress immediately." He almost was like, if your wife doesn't, he was like, "You need to sleep on the floor." I was like, "What?"
Sleep
like,
on
yeah.
the floor.
Yeah, he says it's good for your back.
Huh.
So, so I got a new mattress. So, and I'm not tired. I feel like headphones kind of do this to me. When I isolate my ears, it makes me like, it prompts me to yawn.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I'm just yawning, not tired. Still doing
So what kind of bed did you get? Did you get like one of those beds that you could like make one side firm, one side not firm?
No, that would be like the cool, the lifting, and those are expensive. No,
Yeah, I
just
forgot
a
what
regular
those
bed,
called.
dude. Just a regular bed.
Regular
Actually,
king size.
the other bed, the last bed we got rid of, it also had like the memory foam on top,
Yes.
and I hate that.
Yeah. Don't
That's
do
what
that.
I learned. That's what I learned from that. I was like, I cannot stand matches like this. It's that memory foam traps heat. It
Yes,
just
it does.
holds it. It's like sleeping on top of a hot rock, which my wife loves. I can't stand.
Yes.
So I actually walked in and was like, I'm looking for a traditional spring match, like old school, something that breathes, like cotton. So Nintendo gave us game updates. These are all of the games that are getting free updates. They put up a page letting us know exactly what that means. So ARMS is getting updated, right? It's a free update. If you've got ARMS, it'll play better on Switch 2. What does that update mean? Well, it's getting an update to resolution, FPS, and HDR support. And they put in parentheses a note that there's smoother movement, which is better frame rate, even when playing with 3 or more players. So if you're playing on like the extended multiplayer, it runs a lot better. Big Brain Academy is getting 4 people can play in party mode and game share. Captain Toad is also getting game share, a resolution boost in HDR. Clubhouse 51 Games, which out of all of these might be the one that I probably want to play. Well, probably not. Maybe the Zelda games, but we'll get there in a minute. Game share up to 4 people can play 32 games in Clubhouse 51 Games.
Wow.
Via game
That's
share
good.
now. I want to live in a life where me and everybody in my family has a Switch and we play together, but that's never going to happen.
Not even a little bit.
Like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Game Builder Garage is getting a resolution boost and mouse controls.
Don't even know what that is.
New Super Mario Bros. U is getting a resolution boost. 3D World is getting a resolution, FPS, and HDR.
That's cool.
HDR is for Bowser's Fury only. It's also coming to Game Share, so you can play 3D World together over Game Share. Mario Odyssey is getting resolution, HDR boost. It's also coming to Game Share. Scarlet
That's
and
cool.
Violet's getting a resolution and FPS boost. And they shared 4K screenshots of what Pokemon looks like on Switch 2.
Oh, they need it. They need all the help
It
they
looks
can get.
looks pretty clean. And then Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and Link's Awakening were included as having a resolution and HDR boost. Initially people were like, wait a minute, why not a performance boost? Because that's a lot of those games are known for, especially like Link's Awakening, really kind of chugs a lot. And then it was pointed out by Wario that both of those games have an uncapped frame rate. So Echoes of Wisdom and Link's Awakening run uncapped. So any game that runs uncapped will run a lot better on Switch 2. So they don't have to put it in there. It will just naturally be better.
That's good to know.
I will take Echoes of Wisdom for a spin because I love that game, even at 30. So I definitely will check that out.
It's a great game.
All those are free upgrades, by the way. So you don't have to pay any extras to enjoy
Just
any of
get
that
it.
stuff. Yep.
I'm excited for the Mario Odyssey one.
That one, there are screenshots. They released that on Nintendo today. I'm not sure if you ever saw it, of
I
what they
didn't see
looked
that.
side by side. It looks a lot better.
Ooh, that's gonna
Yeah.
be fun.
Like it's in the detail. Like if you were to just glance at it, you'd be like, they're the same picture. But then you stare at the picture, you look at it, you see the texture on the sidewalk, the smoke off the car, the light. I'm like, oh no, it looks a lot better though.
Yeah.
Much
Mario
clearer.
Odyssey was a beautiful game too.
Yeah. Some headlines: Virtua Fighter 5 Revo confirmed for Switch. So that is coming to all consoles, coming to Switch 2. Is that the first Virtua Fighter game to launch on Switch or launch on a Nintendo console?
I think so. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, I was like, I don't necessarily remember a Virtua Fighter. Maybe GameCube, I guess, but like no Wii, no Wii U. At least I don't think so. I don't remember.
That was normally like a Sega property.
Yeah. Sword and Shield added to Nintendo Music. The Nintendo San Francisco store will allow for customized Switch OLED colors. You can walk
Okay.
into the store and you can say, I want purple Joy-Con and a pink dock and all that jazz. It's a little weird 8 years into the thing, but hopefully a sign
Finally
of
got
more
me.
to come. Yeah. That's like right when they're launching the new console, they're like, hey, you can come buy this old shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I respect it.
It's like their brand new store, grand opening. Come buy our old ass console. Like that is wild.
Grand opening, grand closing.
1996's Killer Instinct Gold hits the Nintendo 64 online expansion pack service.
I used to like Killer Instinct.
I never did. So
I
like I
understand that.
never got into Killer Instinct, but a lot of our community friends, like you, Dev, I think Sean, I know a lot of people that like Killer Instinct.
Yeah, it's a great combo game. Combo breaker.
Yeah,
Real fun.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but it's good enough.
Doug Bowser says that they have enough stock, and he also said that in the immediate future, physical games are a key part of Nintendo's business.
That's good to know. Eating
Notice he
a
used
line.
key in the word. It's a
Yeah.
key part of our business. I also love he's like in the immediate future, not the long-term future.
Next couple of weeks.
It kind of reads like if you read that sentence more than once, it doesn't read the way you think it does.
Yeah.
You're like, Nintendo loves physical. You're like, do they?
No, it's like
Doesn't
you got
sound
about
like
a
they
year or
do.
two. Got
Yeah,
a year or
like,
two.
doesn't sound like they do though.
Right
In
now,
the
you
immediate
got it.
future, we would like to sell physical games. Like,
I don't know about the
wait a
distant.
minute. Yeah, well, wait, what does that mean? What does immediate future mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? That's hilarious. Oh, bland woohoo, San Francisco. Go get the OLED, Garrett.
There you go.
The latest rumor floating around comes from Game Reactor, where they say, according to sources, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2 is on the way to Nintendo Switch 2 and could launch alongside a next-gen patch. So there are a ton of Rockstar rumors out and about right now. Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 4, all kinds of stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2 makes all the sense in the world, I think. Like, I
That's
was
perfect what you're supposed to
100% that's going to come. The GTA 4 rumor I find to be interesting just timing-wise. There have been rumors floating last week that GTA 4 is going to be ported to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch 2. And it's like, you can't rule that out. You know, it's totally doable. But also, that seems strange considering they're like, a lot of people are like, they could come out this year. It's like, well, GTA 6 was supposed to come out. Were they going to launch them both this year? And it's like, well, they did the delay. It's like, yeah, but what you're saying sounds like something they've already been working on.
Correct.
The timing feels weird. It's like, I'm almost
Feels a little
less
off.
likely to believe the ads. Like, is it though? I don't know. We'll see. I'd love for all of it to be true. I want as much
I do too.
many Rockstar games to come to Switch 2 as possible. The Take-Two president talked about how much he loved Switch 2. I'm not sure if you saw that this week. He was like, yeah,
I did
really
see
believe
that.
in it. So maybe there is something to that. Maybe they are prepping a bunch of ports. We'll see.
That'd be cool. Max Payne is the other one he was talking about, right?
Yeah.
Max
Because
Payne
there is a
3.
Max Payne collection. They're working on Max Payne 1 and 2 remake. So a Max Payne 3 port would make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm saying port, like, specifically. I don't think these are going to be like some big remaster. I think they're literally ports of those games.
Yeah, Max Payne 3 could be ported over.
Like back
looks
compat.
great.
Like
Yeah.
back compat ports. Like, yeah, they're not,
Yeah.
no 4K crazy, nothing like that. Not a remake.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
here's the
They
game.
may sell it as a remaster, but it's going to be, this is the game.
Yeah.
Which I would love GTA 4 on Switch 2.
I would too.
Yeah.
I haven't
that'd
played
be
it in a
super
while, so
fun.
it'd be good to get back into it. Yeah.
I'd be happy to see Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not going to buy Red Dead Redemption 2 again. Like, I'm good. I did it.
Yeah.
I came full circle on it. I don't need another version of that game.
Makes sense. I'll get it. I haven't played it in a while, so I'll probably get it again and play it.
Nice. I make it at budget. It'll definitely be on a game key card, like everything else.
Yeah. Don't like that.
So that's the news.
All right. Let's get to these Shaq questions direct from you. Our first question from Chimp Biscuit. I like saying that name.
That's a great name.
Great name. Aside from Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, what is everyone's top 3 Switch games we have gotten so far? His is Metroid Dread, Pikmin 4, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Ooh, I didn't even think of Smash Brothers. That's a good pick.
That is.
Because Smash Brothers is pretty incredible. Smash Brothers is so good. It's really hard to identify what they're going to do next. Like you just re-release Smash Brothers again. Like it's just keep that going.
I agree.
Just add all of it, all the DLC,
Just
everything.
add
into
more characters to that one.
one package, maybe one new character and a controller, and just resell that again.
See, he took away my Tears of the Kingdom. So
Yeah, I
I'm-
love
I'm
how
gonna
he specifically was like, you can't use these.
the guaranteed ones in your list:
100%.
Mario Odyssey, Smash Brothers Ultimate, and the third one's gonna be hard because it's a couple of ones I like a lot.
Since you're using Smash, I'm not going to use Smash.
Okay. Trying to think of which ones I played a lot of. Let me look at.
My answers are
Go-
going to be Luigi's Mansion 3, Mario Wonder, and Fire Emblem Engage.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give Mario Wonder because I did play that one a lot. I like that one a lot too.
I love that game. It was, I don't know, underappreciated. Just didn't
It
seem
is.
like it got as much love as I think it deserves. That game was really, really good. I think it just came out when everybody wanted the 3D Mario instead. You know, it just like people just didn't want to want it.
You know what?
But it's
To be
pretty cool.
different from you, I'm gonna say Mario Rabbids, the first one.
Nice. Ooh, that's a good call. I love that game.
That's a great one.
Yeah, the
think I
first
like
one
that
was
one a lot.
really good. Breath of Fresh Air had the Donkey Kong expansion. That's a really good pick.
Yeah.
I love it. Chat. I love the chat for the love for Luigi's Mansion. Kyle says Luigi's Mansion, Mario Kart, and Dread. Garrett, Astral Chain, which I should have picked. That's a really good
That's
pick.
a good one too.
Astral
Luigi's
Chain,
Mansion
Xenoblade
seems to be
Chronicles. Luigi's Mansion
consistent.
3 is incredible.
Yes,
It's great. It's so good.
it is.
Easily one of my favorite games on this entire system. Like
like
it's
it.
right up there. I think
Everybody's saying that one.
it's,
So that's a good
obviously
choice.
I picked it over Odyssey, and I would stand behind that.
Okay. Free to Play Joe asked, a new thing for Nintendo to consider with the Switch 2 is the rise of PC handhelds. Is it? Can the Switch 2 hold up against the competition for the entire generation, or do you think they'll copy Sony's approach and introduce a new, more performant SKU down the road?
It's interesting.
I will say this. If you look at how these PC handhelds are selling, Nintendo has nothing to worry about. Not even a little bit.
That's the point. If you're looking at it like that, if you're looking at it like from a just total sold, of course. If you're looking at it from a supported games because of technical specs, I think, it's a different story.
Yeah, but Nintendo's known to, like, further down the line, come up with something a little bit more powerful. Not a lot. Not like game changing, but just enough. So I think they'll do that. Like, here's another Switch. The new Nintendo Switch 2. It's a little more powerful, just a little bit. Not a lot.
It's very funny that before this thing even comes out, we're already talking about Switch 2 Pro.
Yeah.
I do think we'll probably get a Pro revision.
Yes. A cheaper version, and we'll get a more expensive version.
I think they wanted to do it with Switch 1. And looking back, I think Digital Foundry I think in the podcast they talked about the specs, and they kind of alluded to this. Around the time when we were talking about Switch 1 Pro and a boost and everything, because of COVID and kind of where we were, the Switch 1 kind of took off.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing came out, and it started selling. They sold more units in years like 5 and 6 than they did years 1 and 2, and that's unheard of. Like, that never happens.
I don't even know.
And
Like,
So if you, it's like they were like, we need another one, we need another revision, and then it just started selling like hotcakes. They're like, but do we? People are buying this shit as fast as we can make them.
now they're looking like, we need another pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, like, yo,
Ready the coronavirus.
get another one, part 2.
So if you think about it like that, if you rule that out as like a outlier, then if we start getting to years 4, 5, 6 of Switch 2, and sales start to not wane, but like, they just start to decline over time as per normal, then I think a revision would make sense as opposed to a brand new model.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of room. 5 nanometer, more RAM, better dot. Like, there's a lot of things you can do to keep this same SKU but really juice it. So,
I agree.
Yeah, a pro model would make sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
All right. Our next question from Kyle the Pug.
Fuck you, Kyle the Pug.
I appreciate that. Favorite video game music while you're driving and coming home from work? This question confused me only for the fact the matter is I never listen to video game music on the way to or from work.
Neither do I. Not on the way. Sometimes it pops up in my shuffle. A lot of times it's going to be either a specific theme that like really stuck out to me, or like something like Zelda music or something like that. Just kind of sits in my library. But I do listen to video game music at work.
Okay, I do too sometimes.
Yeah.
At work or at home. If I'm cleaning up and stuff, I have video game music in the background and stuff like
same.
that. It's usually like stuff like Contra or some good 8-bit stuff, Mario 3, or once in a while like something like, modern. But it's usually older stuff.
My new favorite thing that I found via TikTok in the last 6 months or so is there's an artist that's making like actual music but 8-bit.
Okay.
So it's like 8-bit versions of like the Offspring and Nirvana and stuff like that. I'm doing
That's cool.
into that. It is pretty cool. I enjoy listening to that quite a bit.
Okay.
When it comes to
Right, send me
actual
that.
video game music, I listen to a lot of Last of Us music.
Okay.
Especially a lot of the covers that Troy or Ashley did. A lot of covers that other bands have done. There's like Sadie Creek and stuff. They're really good. I listen to a lot of Destiny music. The dev got me on years and years ago. I never
remember
really
that.
got into Destiny, although that little update he was telling us about with the new single player mode and everything, that kind of makes me want to go try it. That's a game that could come to Switch.
Okay.
Put Destiny on Switch too.
Wonder if they plagiarized that music too.
The music's really good. The music in Destiny is like really good, especially if you're into like any symphonic like orchestra type stuff. It's very big, it's very grand.
Yeah,
Like
from what
it
I've heard from it, sounds really good.
Yeah.
I think I don't listen to it because I have to have usually the stuff like when I listen to video games, I have to have like an attachment to it. Like I played it, I know it, like Mike Tyson's Punch Out or Contra or Metal Gear, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm this is why like I think Nintendo music doesn't really, it just doesn't really. I'm not really attracted to the whole idea of Nintendo music because I don't usually listen to like level themes or stuff like that. Like it's usually like covers, like performance covers. Somebody like an actual band performing a song or like a symphonic version of a song. Like take like a Zelda theme and then like the symphony does it, or a piano or a quartet does it or something, and then I listen to that instead. A lot of acoustic renditions of like video game songs.
I like it. All right. Next question from John32. He asks, does Nintendo have a June Summer Games Mess Direct? And what do you predict will be there? I think they'll have a direct. Probably a third-party one. Like sure, like Doom the Dark Ages and stuff like that, maybe.
I definitely think they're having a direct.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's going to be. I'm not sure if it's going to be in June. Like that would give me some pause. It probably will be, but they just launched this console. They're gonna be riding that Mario Kart wave. Like, could it be July or like? I don't think it has to be June.
Maybe, yeah, it doesn't have to be June. Maybe if anything, probably the end of June, maybe.
Yeah.
By the way, this is coming to Switch 2 too.
But they have a lot of games. Like if rumors are to be believed, they have a lot of games to announce. There are games being rumored and thought of, and if any of those are true, if half of them are true, they have projects to announce. Also, while they do have like some third-party support, like the actual launch, if you're not counting like updates of games that already come out, so if you don't count Kirby and something like that, is Kart and Donkey Kong. Like they got to date other games. They got to date other games through the fall window, through the winter window. So yeah,
but you know
they
what?
should have another direct.
Now that I think about it, I can kind of see a lot of that stuff just being announced during the Summer Games Fest. Not necessarily from Nintendo, but from their third-party partners. Like,
Sure.
hey,
Yeah.
Here's Doom. It's also going to be on Switch 2.
The only question is whether or not Nintendo wants to announce whatever that is.
Correct.
So like Silk Song. I could see Nintendo going, we want you in the direct. So hold your announcement until we want to do our direct.
Correct. I
For
can see that.
announcements like that, I definitely could see Nintendo holding. But you're right. A lot of third parties will just say these games are coming to Switch too.
Yeah, on Summer Game
Like
Fest.
if Ubisoft has a showcase, they'll just be like, these are coming to Switch too. You know, because we,
So
we
they
have a
might
bunch
not
out
need
there.
one.
It's like Shadows, Mirage. You know, they have several games that are apparently on the way.
Yeah, so they might not even need one then, if you look at it like that.
Need isn't the right word. They have to. They need a direct because they're gonna have to. They have to date their own games.
Yeah, but will it be in June? That's the question.
No, I don't think it has
Yeah.
to. It does not have.
See,
to
that's
be
the
in June.
thing.
Does not have to be in June.
Yeah.
What could they be?
Hmm.
That's the harder question. Obviously, because nobody knows what they're doing, but it's the start of a generation, so they could do literally anything. What I'll say is, if all the games that they have announced for this year hold, they're kind of stacked. So if you are daydreaming of a direct where they announce all the games that you want them to announce, I'd maybe push back because we have Pokemon, we have Kirby Air Riders,
Mm-hmm.
we have a Zelda game, all supposed to come out this year, right?
Yeah,
And Prime 4
those are big games.
and Metroid Prime, which
That's
is
what I
like
was thinking. Maybe
the big game.
we'll see some more third-party stuff.
So I think there's probably one or two more games from Nintendo this year, and then we start looking at next year, and whether or not that's in June or this fall or whatever. Like at their next one or two showings, they should start showing more of a roadmap.
Yeah.
They should be showing more of a peek ahead. The Switch 2 showed us at launch. The next one should show us through the fall, and then I would think the next one would be a peek into 2026.
Yeah.
Like a tease. And I would think the summer one, whatever that is, probably will include a 2026 tease. And be excited
Maybe.
for, this is the next big game.
Okay.
I don't know what they could be though. Like what could they be? At the launch, at the first year of the launch, it always feels like a really good time to launch a new IP, like in ARMS. Like,
Yeah.
You've got a lot of attention. People are looking for stuff to play. It's a good time to like drop something to make people try. I don't know if Drag Drive is that. Like maybe they think that's that. I'm not thinking that's the same thing, but maybe they do. I would think like a new swing at something, which I think they've already done with Donkey Kong. So like
Yes,
Donkey Kong is kind of like their new swing. But like could they come back with, I'm going to throw this out there for those fans because I think it fits now, like an F-Zero, an Icarus, like something kind of out of left field to throw at people. Like the first year would make sense for something like that.
You know what came to my mind?
Hmm.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
I think they're done with those. I think the
Nice.
Olympic Committee pulled the license, I think.
They pulled the license? Wow.
Yeah, they're not making them anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Olympics.
And there's always remasters and spin-offs and stuff they could do. A party game, of course, although they're putting a lot into Mario Party, so I think Mario Party is the party game for a minute. And we have a spin-off with Zelda and Kirby, so I think those are good. I don't think we'll have any more remasters. Unless you count the Metro. I mean, I guess Prime 2 and 3 could come at any point.
Yeah.
They
That'd
could
be a
drop
good
those whenever. I do agree with you. I think it's a lot of third party for a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a
When
lot
is
of
the
room.
wheelchair game coming out?
I have no idea.
Are they
I'm
going to
not-
be showing us more of that?
Not even paying attention to
Because
that.
they probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
They probably should tuck that one right back in their pocket like that.
We know that Silk Song's like on their roadmap. Xbox is out there. EA is out there. Take-Two's out there. There are games
I was thinking,
unannounced. We don't know
when
if
is
Metal
Gears
Gear
supposed
is
to be coming
coming. We don't know if Gears is coming. We don't know if Mafia is coming. There's a lot of games we don't know if they're going to come to Switch 2 or not.
Yeah.
Tales and Metaphor and Tekken and all
And I
kinds of
think
other games.
Off the third-party stuff, that'll hold them back for a little while, too.
It's
Just
I think they're pretty good for the year. Like there's a lot of hope out there that like there's like a big Mario 3D game. Like and there could be. I think
I
it's
don't think we need it.
possible. But I don't think it's needed. It's not necessary right now, unless they really like want to make a splash, which they might. Like I could see it. It's not unheard of. Like you come back in the fall and be like, boom, big 3D Mario game. Everybody gonna get a Switch 2.
I think the system is kind of the seller right now. Everybody's hyped for the system.
It's gonna sell on its own for a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, and we got games coming already, so it's like, all right, you might be good for a while.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder because when it was first announced, I think we all thought 3D Mario game at launch, and then we see Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong is not like super big, so I don't think Donkey Kong is a game that they've been working on for 8 years. I don't think that's it.
Heard something.
I think they've probably worked on, even though obviously they worked on Bowser's Fury and stuff. I do think there's a Mario game probably nearing the end of development, if not completed. We know Nintendo likes to hold games, so I don't think it's going to be that long for a 3D Mario game, personally. I think if it's not this year, it's definitely next year. But we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Our next question from Crawler6. Do you think in the future we could get a Switch 2 Lite? I agree with Rebecca that the NS2 might be bigger to hold. What features would be removed if we got one? Mouse mode, probably? I don't think we're getting a Switch 2 Lite.
I mean, I've made the argument not to. There's an argument for both. The point that I will make, that I will continue to make, is that just because Nintendo did something with the Switch doesn't mean they'll do the same thing with the Switch 2.
That is true.
It doesn't mean they won't, but I think too many people go, well, they did this, so they'll do it again. That's not necessarily the case. I think we talked about this before. The Switch Lite, it sold, I guess, well enough, right? Like it did reach new players. They've sold 20 or 25 million of these, I think, overall, somewhat.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of Switch sales, it's not a lot. If it were me, I would look at those numbers and go, how do we get them to buy the more expensive console instead of making a new console? Especially in a world of tariffs and production and manufacturing. Like, why do all that in the cost if it's not gonna sell a lot more? Now, the opposite of that is the Switch has never been more expensive.
Correct.
It's $450. So a cheaper model would make more sense now than it even did with the Switch Lite. You could argue more people didn't buy the Switch Lite because the Switch model was not that much more expensive. $100, you get the dock. You might as well just get the dock, right? Maybe if they had a $250 Switch Lite next to a $450 Switch 2, maybe they would get a Switch 2 Lite. Maybe more people would buy it because it's that much cheaper.
I would probably think they would just lower the price on the regular Switch 2 and come up with another model, if anything.
But that's a long way to go down, though.
But it's not going to be like no time soon. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in like year 3, 4. The regular Switch model is now $350, and the newer model is the original price.
So, like, I could make a case for both. The biggest case about having a cheaper model is just cheaper. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Lite. It's a good point that Crawler makes out. Like, what are you going back to the unibody design? Are you getting rid of the Joy-Con? What does that do for mouse mode? Do you need an external mouse? Like, there are issues that come up.
It depends on how people take mouse mode, I guess. If mouse mode is popular, or if anything, like, maybe they don't get rid of it. Like, well, maybe we don't need to get rid of this.
If it were me, instead of making a completely like a smaller, unibody design, I would just make a cheaper version of the Switch 2 and make that my Lite model. So like I would maybe you downgrade the screen. Maybe it's just an LCD screen. It's not 120 hertz. It doesn't do all the fancy things, right? I don't know if like I want to say you make a smaller size that's more kid friendly.
That would be good.
But like if you're not, like if you the only way to really do that is to make it unibody. Because if you're not going to make it unibody, then you'd want to use the same Joy-Cons and attachments and accessories and stuff, right? You'd want to keep it the same size. But if you make it unibody, you can make it smaller. I would make it digital. I would make I think that's one way to eat into the cost of a lower models, make it digital only.
That's a
And
good
you
point.
force people to buy digital games, and you make more money off of everything sold on that console over time. You start to make that back a little bit. I would also, if I were making a Switch 2 Lite and I worked for Nintendo, I would also make it dock. I would allow it to dock. I think maybe that may have held back the Switch Lite on Switch 1. The
Yeah.
fact that it couldn't dock kept people away from it.
Yeah, I'll make it be able to dock, and you can just buy a dock separately.
That's a cheap thing to do. Yeah. It's a cheap, like, let's say they tried to get it, I want to say $250, so let's say $299.
Okay.
$299, and there's a dock accessory if you want it.
Yeah.
So maybe half of those $299s become $349s because they buy the dock.
Yeah. Like
You
the
know,
Steam Deck.
That's pretty good.
I like.
But I also just like the idea of them just trying to get people to buy the Switch. Like, just focus on the one thing. It reminds me of like what PlayStation did. Like, they've got the digital, so you could call that the Lite, but it's not really the Lite.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just PS5.
Like, they have the revision of the PS5, and I'm not sure if you remember, I think it was last year around Christmas, they ran like a crazy promotion for like 2 months where they were selling those things at like $299 or $349. Like, they were trying to move units. They had bundles and everything. I would rather Nintendo do that instead of a light SKU. Instead of making a whole different model and bringing a whole different product and everything, you just
Try to get the one we got.
yeah, let's get bundles. Let's get it going. Like, let's get it out there. Find a window, do it crazy, make it an attraction, get people in the ecosystem. I think you got a better chance. The way I would think about it globally, like from a macro level, let's say there's 20 million people out there that would like a cheaper Switch. I would rather get 10 million of those 20 into a more expensive Switch than sell all 20 of them at a cheaper cost.
Yeah, maybe they get everybody in this more expensive Switch by doing the thing like they're doing with Mario Kart. Like, every big game,
Yeah.
you just buy a Switch that has that game into it, and you get it for cheaper. Instead of $80, you get it for cheaper because you're buying the console itself
I
with
mean,
the game in it.
Our chat's pointing out a really great topic is the price could just go up based on everything we've seen. Like,
That is
the
also
cheapest
true.
The Switch 2 could be just right now. Day
Right now.
one price is the cheapest Switch 2 you're going to get.
Buy it now, folks.
Yeah, that's very, very, very possible. But yeah, like, the way I look at it, like, the 25 million that they sold, that's not enough in my mind to make me want to take on all those expenses and stuff. Like, my focus would be, how do we get those 20 million to buy our more expensive box? How do we get them to upgrade?
Yeah, makes sense to me. All right. Our next question from Dilfy, a.k.a. D-Life. Are there any Switch games you missed or didn't give a chance on Switch 1 that you want to play on Switch 2?
No.
Not really. I guess, what's that Pokemon game?
Which one?
What's the name of it? The last one that just came out?
Arceus?
Arceus. Is that the one? I guess that's the one that came out. I'd play it on Switch 2 to see if it runs better.
You mean Scarlet and Violet? The one's getting upgraded? That's the one that doesn't run very well.
Okay, yeah, it's Scarlet Violet. The one that runs
Arceus
like shit.
Okay. Yeah, that's Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't play. Like, this doesn't.
That's the one getting a free upgrade.
Yeah, I'd
It's
play
pretty
that one to
brutal,
see if
man.
it.
It was.
Yeah.
I remember that thing on launch. It was watching Jack play that. I was like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We went through a bad run there. There was like a 18-month period there where Switch was really, really struggling.
Yeah.
It was like Outer Worlds came out, and that game was real bad.
I remember
It's
that.
just like, oh,
Mortal
we really
Kombat
went
1.
through it there for a period.
Yeah.
And Pokemon's been on that ride. Like, Brilliant Diamond and Pearl wasn't very good either.
Yeah.
You know. But Scarlet and Violet takes the cake.
That's the
pretty
one
rough.
I'd probably like play again. Like, oh, let's see how it runs now. Let's see if I like this one now.
There's lots of games I would like to revisit for performance upgrades, but not any that I missed. No, if I wanted to play it, I played it. Atelier is really rough. I bought that game, and it is rough on Switch 1. I would like to return to that game.
Okay, that's a good.
I don't know if I'd really call what I played a full try. I played it for like a couple hours and was like, no, this thing is pretty busted.
Yeah. See, Garrett, you're right. I think all of the Pokemon games, except like the Let's Go ones, were pretty rough on Switch. So we can make that argument for all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, he said to tell your Yuma. It's pretty rough. I didn't mention in the notes, but I did see it on Blue Sky. The folks, New Star, the folks that make New Star Grand Prix, that Formula One game I like, they patched the Switch 1 version to run uncapped.
Oh, that's great.
So on Switch 2, it'll just run great. Day one. So if you don't have that yet and you're into F1, I can't recommend it enough. New Star Grand Prix is a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. Our final question.
I was going to ask you, do you want to save that one for Rebecca?
You know what? I like your thinking, Donnie, because I just read it. Like, yeah, that's the Rebecca asked question.
Very pointed for Rebecca. So we'll save it for
Rebecca's not here. Rebecca's catching Pokemon. She's actually told a funny joke. I'm like, she's catching Digimon.
Digimon.
She's catching Digimon. Digital monsters.
Oh.
All right, I guess that'll do it for us then. That ended all the last questions.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Another one in the books.
Yeah.
Fun show. We are.
Real fun show.
Is the 19th, so we have 2 shacks away from Switch 2.
Hopefully everybody gets their Switch 2 on time.
Think about that, man. We have next week's show, then it'll be June 1st, the show after that. Yeah. And then the Switch comes out that week.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun week.
We haven't talked about what we're doing that week. Do you guys want to do like a day one podcast? You just want to stream on a regular day?
If
you want to come back on the...
I think we should see if... Let's see if everybody gets theirs in on that day.
Mm-hmm.
If we all get our Switches in on that day, I think it would be fun to record that day and give our thoughts.
Yeah. Maybe let listeners, you can let us know what you think.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Want to hear from us? Because I think when you do this, there's always there's a desire to be like quick, but also for me, it's like, yeah, but I'm playing Breath of the Wild though.
Yeah.
Like I'm not really in a rush to podcasts.
The 5th is a Thursday.
Yeah.
I think my thing said I'll get it the 6th. The 5th or the 6th. So what about that Friday?
I bet I get one of them early. I have 3 of them now. I have 3 pre-orders. I bet one arrives early.
I have 2. One is for Delvin. One is for me. So
I ordered
one of those.
I ordered one from Walmart, one from Target, and that one was going to go to Josh. And then I also got selected. I don't think we ever talked about it. I got selected by Nintendo. I ordered one direct from Nintendo.
Well, that's great. So you got
and
3.
I'm sending that one to Seth.
Okay.
I got that GameCube controller, and I've already flipped it on eBay.
Smart man.
So that's another free game for me down the road. That's a free Hot Shots, a free Madden, something else. I'm going to pick up more games.
Also, if people were curious, if people want to know, just FYI, GameStop is giving you 40% extra on any trades towards Switch 2 stuff.
Wow.
So
that's pretty good.
Jump on that if you want to.
D-Life says,
old games.
New Star Grand Prix is playable on Switch. It's fine. It is like 30, and I think it dips. So it's not like, 60 frames a second or anything like that. The Switch 1 is old, man. That thing was old the day it released.
Yes.
And here's the thing. The Switch 2 is the same.
Yeah.
The Switch 2's chip is several years old. It's got some new features and stuff on it, but it's not like gangbusters. It just is compared to the Switch. Compared to the Switch 1, the Switch 2 is a massive leap. Huge leap. It's going to feel like your next gen. You're going to be like, holy shit, this is what next gen means.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. It's going to be a great time.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. It's Breath of the Wild alone. We're doing Breath of the Wild. Didn't D-Life say he was going to join us?
I think he did.
You should join us. We're going to do Breath of the Wild. We're going to be playing it. And this will be Delvin's first time.
Really
into the Switch 1 launch. Really trying because he didn't get it the first time. Yeah. So I've offered to be a Sherpa. And anybody can do this. So if Delvin has questions and concerns, he can ask them in the chat. We can point him in the right direction. But you've already done Tears of the Kingdom.
So it should be a lot easier.
It should be. Yeah, you should take to this a lot better. I am very interested in hearing. It's very interesting the fact that you've beaten and played Tears of the Kingdom without playing Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of extra shit on it that you're not going to have like at all.
Yeah.
The Ultra Hand and the roof shit and like the depths and the islands, none of that's in Breath of the Wild.
So this probably is gonna make it easier for me.
I'm wondering if it's easier. I'm wondering if you're like there's a part of it's like, have you been conditioned by Tears of the Kingdom to the point where when you go back to Breath of the Wild, you're like, I can't do this. This game sucks.
That would be funny.
Where the hell's my motorbike? You know, like I'm wondering about that. Because I think for me, I think I said this when we played it. For me, I think that's a reason why I never jumped on that whole Tears of the Kingdom is better in every way sort of thing, because it offers a lot more, but like there's like more elegance to Breath of the Wild's like simplicity, I think.
Okay.
It's a little bit more basic, which I think makes the whole survival part of it hit a little bit harder for me. Especially early on when you're on the plateau and shit, and you're fighting with sticks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you got to build there. That progression is earned, not just given.
Yeah, I remember that section very well. Like,
Tears of the Kingdom's like, here's your shit, go. You know, like
here, go out there and
not
fight.
like that. Yeah, it's not like that. I remember Breath of the Wild when I first got like my first Bokoblin spear. I was like, oh, y'all fucked up. It's like, I like that progression, that constant building to something. I like that a lot. I'm very much. I can't wait to talk to you about it. Very interested in hearing how you.
It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it.
I really am. Alone, the fact it's 4K, it's 60 frames. You get this damn. Are you going to use the GPS app?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm like over the moon excited about this. I can't wait to find like all these notes, and I'm going to send you shit every day. I don't even know if you're going to say. I'm just going to start sending you shit constantly. Like, here you go, Delvin. Take this. Take that.
I'm excited.
I know where stuff is. The difference between you and me is I know where stuff is.
I don't know where nothing.
So I'm like, go to the castle and get like some Hylian shields and shit and send them to you.
That'll work perfectly. Here you go.
Go, Delvin, run.
Here's weapons for you. That's how you fix this game for me. Just like, here you go.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to that. I think that whole app, I hope it works. God, could you imagine if it's like Smart Glass all over again? You open it up and shit doesn't work.
I'm furious.
Because Smart Glass, I think Smart Glass, we all remember it with like, rose tinted glasses. The Smart Glass did not work.
No.
Like it kind of worked. Like it kind of like the technology really wasn't there then. I remember having all kinds of syncing issues and, certain apps weren't on certain devices and, Android was just like kind of getting going and it wasn't as seamless as I think you would expect it today.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait.
Me neither.
Hyrule says not a fan of survival games. I get it. It's not like, it's not like Moria or Valheim or something. It's just like light version of that. It's
I like some of those
survival.
games.
Not full survival. I just like that you can cheese it. Like you only have like 2 hearts and you can grind to get more. Or if you're smart, you can find a couple recipes. You can have 20 hearts right from the start. Like you can.
There you go. That makes it easy.
You don't have to do any of that shit if you don't want to. That's kind of fun. You got to know where everything is, though. And Breath of the Wild is different when you're replaying Breath of the Wild. Like replaying Breath of the Wild from playing it originally, 2 totally different experiences.
Yeah.
So, cool. Anyway, I've strung this out long enough. Get us out of here.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We are out.
Peace. Whenever you're ready.
All right. This is Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening. And I forgot the line already. What?